This is a view of the valley looking southeast from First Street, Louth, and Pelham Road in St. Catharines. For hundreds of years before people of European descent arrived in this area, the semi-nomadic Iroquois-speaking Attawandarunk and later the Haudenosaunee enjoyed the rich and plentiful natural resources in the area. The first permanent settlement in St. Catharines, which was in Grantham Township at the time, took place in the mid-1780s, and this valley, known as Crown Mills, became its industrial center. The construction of the first water-powered mill began in 1786 by Duncan Murray. He was granted land in the valley for having supported the British during the American Revolutionary War. Unfortunately, he died cutting down a tree, and the sawmill that he began constructing was completed the following year by Robert Hamilton, a Scottish merchant who also established the first storehouse in St. Catharines, which was located on 12 Mile Creek, just upstream from where the Burgoyne Bridge is today. In 1800, the property was sold to Jesse Thomas, who continued to operate the sawmill, and by 1811, his son Peter had built a grist mill downstream. In order to power the mills with a reliable and adequate flow of water, a dam was built at the base of the escarpment along 12 Mile Creek. This flooded about 15 acres of land and formed a mill pond. The mill pond was located on the flat ground just below the point where Beaver Dams Creek joins 12 Mile Creek, and today it is no longer flooded. A raceway, constructed from about 30 meters before the dam, directed water from the mill pond to the water wheels in the saw and grist mills, where it would then be directed back into 12 Mile Creek. The property was sold in 1828 and then again in 1854 to Benjamin Franklin Reynolds, who operated the mills for 42 years. During this time, the area became known as Reynoldsville in his honor. The valley housed a complex of industrial buildings which included the original saw and grist mills, a blacksmith shop, a wagon shop, a planing mill, and a cooperage for making barrels. There was also a truss bridge over 12 Mile Creek north of the village to access the east side of the valley. Mr. Reynolds supplied wooden masts to the Chacluna shipyards, timber for the construction of the Third Welland Canal, and grains, flour, and lumber to nearby residents. In the 1870s, Reynoldsville was described as a small village on 12 Mile Creek, and it had a population of 60 people. On account of poor health and advanced age, Mr. Reynolds tried to sell his property and businesses in 1885 by placing an ad in a local paper. Despite the beautiful location, the working farms and manufacturing industries, and the unlimited and never-failing power of 12 Mile Creek for the mills, the property did not sell. Mr. Reynolds' son, William, continued to run the operations for another 10 years before they were permanently shut down. In the mid-1890s, the grist mill was gutted by fire, and this event essentially marked the end of the Crown Mills and Reynoldsville era. The turn of the 20th century marked a new beginning for the valley. In 1897, the construction of the first generating station in Canada began on land purchased from the Reynolds and the neighboring Hofstetter family. The following year, electricity was transmitted long distance from St. Catharines to Hamilton, and in 1904, the small village of Reynoldsville was renamed Power Glen. Today, while the remains of the dam, mill pond, spillway, and grist mill of Crown Mills and Reynoldsville are slowly disappearing, they remain important reminders of St. Catharines' early industrial past.